G'day everyone and welcome back to Critical AFL on YouTube for part 4 of our 3-part series about West Coast Eagles to watch in 2025. Yes, you did hear correctly, this is part 4 of 3, but there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. For everybody who's been following our 3-part series, our YouTube analytics showed a steep drop-off on this video as our last player was reviewed, which means a lot of people might have jumped off the video before realising that there was still a final analysis. This video is just a short extract from the back part of part 3 for anybody who got to the end of the new inclusion segment and missed our final verdict. So I hope you enjoy our 2025 list change review just to round out the series. It's time to draw our conclusions on all of the players to watch in 2025 that we have listed in this series and how they stack up against any points of decline. So by points of decline, we're really referring to players that have departed or maybe aging. A quick summary of some of the players who have left or maybe getting a little past it. West Coast lost 3 senior players in Andrew Gaff, Jack Darling and Tom Barrass. Both Gaff and Darling were very much playing at the end of their careers last year, so the impact of losing them really shouldn't be felt comparing the list to the season just gone. Pretty much the same goes for all of our off-season delistings. I think that mechanism pretty much speaks for itself when you're measuring the impact of losing them. So what that leaves on the departures front is Tom Barrass. There's definitely no denying that Barrass is an elite key defender, and while West Coast probably cashed in on Barrass while he still held really good genuine value, there will be a need for that hole to be filled. Personally, I don't think the loss is likely to be felt unless the remaining key defence players have injuries, which is also quite realistic. As we just heard earlier in this video, Harry Edwards was reported to be in a moon boot in the past week, while Jeremy McGovern has not only had his challenges with injuries, but he'll also be 33 next year, making him one of our older players on the list. If these 2 starting players are out, the club is likely to fall back on Cal Jamison, Rhett Bazzo, Job Shanahan, and potentially even Sandy Brock, who's just a train-on player with West Coast chasing a list spot over summer. The other part of our negative assessment is West Coast's ageing players. Pretty much that would be the counterbalance to our emerging players, really. And there shouldn't be too many of them. Jeremy McGovern, as we mentioned, Jamie Cripps and Dom Sheed are all in that bracket, and out of them, McGovern's the most irreplaceable. Cripps has become a mentor to a really deep part of our list in the small forward division. Sheed is quite likely already in the fringe in that new look West Coast midfield. And while Tim Kelly and Elliot Yeo are both moving towards the other side of their peak, it would be premature to put them in this category for 2025. So in full summary, going into 2025, across the 3 field zones, West Coast is looking its strongest in years. The forward line could quite reasonably be argued as up there with the best in the competition. The midfield has added desperately needed depth and probably comes with a bit of a wild card next to it in 2025. That mix of young and new talent along with senior stars, still fit and ready, could easily surprise the competition and will hopefully be on even footing for first access at stoppages with a fit Matt Flynn. In the back line, while the first choice squad looks competitive, it's particularly vulnerable if there were to be a couple of injuries, but at the same time, it could offer fans the opportunity at seeing someone new step up and hold down that line, much like we saw with Jeremy McGovern when he came out of nowhere in 2015, when Mitch Brown and Eric McKenzie were both out. So all in all, 2025 should excite West Coast fans who have suffered quite loyally through a rare rough patch. Let us know what has you most excited for next year and what your expectations are for the club. Thanks again, and as always, if you're enjoying our content on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. We will be producing lots more off-season content for you to enjoy, and subscribing will not only keep you from missing any of it, it will also help us continue producing it for you. So tap that button to make sure we see you in our next video.